Two, one. And welcome back to BioShock Infinite Part 2 of, well, I guess the Campaign Roundtable. I guess I should say the name of the show, shouldn't I?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Anyways, I'm Garrett Weinzerl.
I'm Mike Doherty.
And I'm Kyle Ferguson.
And this is the cast where we dive into the depths that is the story of video games. And we're going right back to Columbia, despite the fact that, unless you're Kyle, you really don't like throwing baseballs at interracial couples.
Just gonna bring that on over, huh?
You're damn right.
I'm winning Rome. You guys be walking around racist planet and be dead in 2 seconds. I'll be okay. I know deep inside that I'm not racist, and these people are nuts, and I'll kill them later.
But first, I'll start by beginning the horrible, blunt death of an innocent couple.
I didn't see what happened to him.
Terrible person.
Plan's got a lot of problems. I can't solve them all.
Oh, you're so freaking... Wow. Have you ever seen an episode of Doctor Who? Because I'm pretty sure when he went back to Rome, he didn't drive a nail into Jesus' hand.
Listen, if I had to not be racist, then part of the requirements of the people yelling at me through the spooky ghost door should have been, "Don't be racist! Wipe away the debt!"
All right. You're still a terrible person, but you're less terrible because you're funny. We okay now? We good?
We good.
Can we start with... we move forward with the show, I guess? So, anyways, if you've been following along, last week we did BioShock Infinite Part 1, and when we last left Booker, well, we fell out of the sky, to put it lightly. We caused the Columbia equivalent to 9/11, and then we fell out of the sky.
And landed in a beach, which wasn't on the ground.
No, it wasn't, which I thought was such a wonderful little mini twist. I was like, oh, all right.
When did you find that out?
Immediately upon waking up and seeing that the beach had an end.
Oh, I didn't even bother to look back there.
That's the first thing you don't see a vast body of water and go, I wonder how far it lets me walk into this before it breaks the game. That's the first thing I do. Ever since the original Halo and the island level, where you could pretty much drive for infinity into the ocean and not drown, explode, or die in any way, shape, or form, I have always wanted to try and break the water in video games.
Okay, so like some people try to see if they can find their legs. That's one of your big things. I always see if I can scale the closest mountain.
You play a lot of Bethesda games, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that's really the only game I can think of where that's really a thing.
World of Warcraft as well.
Okay. MMOs and Bethesda games, which are pretty much single-player MMOs.
Sandbox, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I gotcha. So, yeah, so we woke up at the beach, all that kind of stuff. It's very, very interesting. I really dug Battleship Bay. It took me forever today. I was recapping this in my head. I'm like, okay, what are we doing on today's show? I could not for the life of me remember the name of the damn beach place.
Yeah, and that just sounds like a name right out of any water park ever, really. It sounds like something Disney.
Yeah, Typhoon Lagoon, Blizzard Peak, or whatever the other ones are.
It's even got the alliteration thing going down.
I would agree with you if this was a water park, but this is like a very serene, old-timey beach setting, so I thought the name was very unfitting. It's like it sounds like some kind of like war monument.
Well, everything in this Columbia is a war monument.
That's a very good point. Way to be, Mike. So, I guess we'll dive right into it. So we wake up on the beach, and Elizabeth revives us, and then we wake up and she's gone.
Yep. Gone off to have a good time, and you're just, I guess, so strung out from damn near dying, or dying. I can never quite figure out if you die or you just don't die. That you're just like, yeah, okay, no. I don't care.
I'm good. I'm just gonna take a nap, fully clothed, on the beach,
In the sun.
full of guns, by the way. Did they take away your weapons? I forget. Do you lose your weapons?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. So that makes a little more sense. Because to break the video game wall, that would be hilarious. So just imagine people walking by and there's this fully clothed man laying near the ocean with just guns slinging off his body.
Well, wait, they don't take them away. You just don't use them when you get up and you walk around and you're just kind of like, I guess he's got them in his pockets.
Okay.
Or stuffed down his pants. That's why he's walking funny.
Yeah, which, I mean, we don't talk about mechanics a lot, but you can only carry 2 guns in this game, so it's not like he'd be like Gordon Freeman, like the walking armada.
Which makes the game and its controls a little rough on computer because you're so used to having your 1 through 8 or so be all your weapons, and in this game it's all of your vigors.
I never even played with a keyboard. I just plugged my 360 controller in and went to town.
I did the same. That's funny.
Well, understandably so. The interface especially is very controller based.
Well, in the gameplay of BioShock in general, it's right trigger for guns, left trigger for magic. So I almost called them plasmids again. I'm gonna keep wanting to call them plasmids. Chat room, calm down. First person shooter with a controller. This isn't
a first-person shooter.
This isn't
first-person adventure game with some shooter aspects.
Exactly. This isn't like Battlefield multiplayer where I want to make sure to hit my target from a mile away. This is I have fire hands
and a pinwheel of death.
A what?
Your pinwheel of death. Your melee thing.
Oh, yeah.
Makes no physical sense whatsoever, but it kills everything.
Skyhook.
Yeah.
People last week were like, well, you see Elizabeth use it on the cable, and I'm like, yes, but it still makes no physical sense.
Yeah, like you drop from hundreds of feet in the air and just land with the skyhook on one arm. That would just basically rip your arm off and you just keep going down. And there'd just be a hand with a hook.
Well, that you could say that about like every superhero movie ever. Anytime Superman catches people who are falling, he would just kill them. He would shatter their bones into a bazillion pieces. The only movie that has done it correctly is the most recent Iron Man. You actually see him adjusting for speed and velocity and all that kind of stuff. And even then, it's pretty far-fetched.
Yeah. But that's superhero stuff. This is like a dude with guns.
Yes. Yeah. But still, what I'm saying is like even in the Batman films, you never see I've never seen Batman catch someone where it looks like, okay, they would have survived that.
Okay, but yeah, let's throw that all out the window here. This is video games. Like, let's put any of us on a 6-foot high crate and watch us tiptoe and dance before we're like, ooh, I don't know, my knees kind of give a little bit when I jump off this 6-foot top.
Yes, and that all these objects that are stacked on top of one another have no give to them whatsoever, because we all know if we were trying to jump from crate to crate in a video game, that should be like teetering and shifting to our weight, and we would just get freaked out, get vertigo, and fall and snap our leg or something. Be over. So.
Yeah, okay. I get it. Video games versus reality.
Yes. Yeah, it's a fun topic. It's always fun.
What do you guys think of Elizabeth here? Because eventually you find her dancing to some music, and it's very Disney princess. She gets easily caught up in things, very whimsical.
Well, yeah. I mean, her as a character, this is like her first taste of freedom. She's been cooped up in albeit a very nice prison for her whole life.
It's a good way to put it, the Disney princess thing. I think they totally dialed into that, at least for the first few bits where you get to run around with her. She is totally stoked about everything that she sees and doesn't even really pick up on any of the undertones of how screwed up everything is in Colombia. She's just so happy to be seeing everything. It's like well, if you go back to like the fresh glimpse of when you first got to Colombia and you see it for the very first few moments before the crazy crap happens. And you're like, wow, this is great. Look at this crap. Floating buildings and clouds and yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, it reminded me of, I guess, a more recent Disney movie was Tangled. There's that scene where Rapunzel goes into the kingdom like square for the first time, and she's just looking at all the crap, and it really reminded me of that. And then it reminded me of Firefly, where River wanders off, and they find her later dancing with like a folk group.
Yeah, it's almost cliche, isn't it? But it's a very good one. It hasn't really played out in my mind yet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I loved the animation. I thought it was really well done. It brought a lot of character to Elizabeth.
Yeah. If I had to really say one thing that kind of bugs me about the BioShock titles in general is that they got this kind of weird animatronic animation routines that they use on everything. It's just a little stiff. Like it'll go through moments of fluidness and then it kind of just goes and then goes into the next one. They ironed that out a little bit with Elizabeth, but she does still have it. But she's definitely like the most fluid thing they've ever really done.
Yeah, and so much to effect, like as you're playing through the game, now this is the first time we're going to talk about adventuring with Elizabeth and having her as your counterpart. And what I thought was really cool is as you're going through the game, and there is a part where you're not in the middle of people trying to kill you. She's tinkering with stuff. She's leaning up against a bookshelf. She's looking at desks. And I thought that was all pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
She wasn't just the old deer in the headlights waiting for you to start moving so the rubber band kicks in and she follows you.
Yeah, she was definitely a lot more of a character than Alex was in Half-Life 2. She's with you for more of it. She does more stuff. She's much more important to the storyline, even though Alex is pretty much integral too. Elizabeth is... there is no story without her.
Right. Exactly. I mean, she's the whole reason we're in Columbia. I'm sure you could have probably made a game without Elizabeth, but without her, we wouldn't have this whole plot line of the tears that we saw very briefly last week, where she opened up the tear to Paris.
Well, it'd be a lot harder to have these goal-style missions and side quests, which is the majority of what we did today, without some character making us go on them. Otherwise, we're crashing a plane and getting stuck in a horrible, underwater city until we can escape. And it's interesting that they gave her, like, superpower, what she contributes to the group, is a lot like Mad Max instant reload powers or instant health. It's a very... a lot of games have tried this out, and one that was really bad at it was Prince of Persia. One of the new ones came out for PS3 and Xbox 360. And the girl would res you every time something went wrong. She would summon the little hooks that you could swing on the walls with, but ultimately it just felt like she was walking you through the game. But somehow, with her tossing you health, tossing you mana, and tossing you fully loaded guns, it doesn't feel like she's the one holding your hand.
Yeah.
No,
she does feel OP, but instead of, like you said before, we were just like, leave me alone, lady, I want to do this by myself. Like, you're running out of ammo, she throws you a clean gun, and you're just like, I love this girl, and then go back to killing people.
I almost started relying on it as a game mechanic. Like, I was just like, oh, shit, I'm getting low, where's the minute? Oh, she'll probably throw me a loaded shotgun here in a second. Oh, hey, yeah. Sweet.
Exactly. She was reliable, if a little overpowered.
Yeah, but it blended very well with the world. She seemed like... because, I mean, if you grew up in captivity and you weren't okay with killing people, if you weren't a one-man army like Booker, how would you help? You would be... that's exactly what you do. You would... here's a gun. Here's some ammo. Like, you would just throw the person who can kill people stuff to keep your ass alive.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think... I like it. I'd like to see... I'd like to see some games expand upon this.
She's the chaplain class.
The what?
She's the chaplain class. She doesn't do any fighting. She just helps everybody.
It'll be interesting to see The Last of Us come out, because that's a game that's been in development outside of BioShock. From now on, I'm expecting to see a lot of Elizabethan tones in my side characters.
Oh yeah, I could totally see this becoming kind of a fad. But I don't know. Well, hey man, we're getting a dog in Call of Duty, so obviously it's already taken root.
Call of Doggy.
Doggo duty.
Oh no!
Oh no! Get out the plastic bags. But no, yeah, more of this. I'd be interested to see this really taken further. So, anyways, back to the story. We need to get to an airship. We need to commandeer an airship so we can fly. Well, Booker told Elizabeth, "Oh, I'll take you to Paris." Obviously, lying, because we all know he's going to take her ass back to New York.
Right, and of course they have to choose the nicest one they can find, the only one of this particular type of airship. So that if that one happens to be, I don't know, blocked at some point, you won't be able to just go find another one that's this nice.
Well, there had to be slightly more information to it than that, right? I'm pretty sure you're being an ass right now.
There was really nothing to it. It was just like, look at that airship. Let's take that one. It goes to Paris.
Well, it seemed a little simple. I mean, we walk up, there's the energy machine waiting for a good shock to get going. That's all we need, right? Last time we had one of these issues, it was a door not opening. The lady with the vigor was standing directly in front of the door.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it kind of gets down to the whole, everybody always makes fun of the Lord of the Rings. Why didn't they just take the eagles to blah, blah, blah? There are so many flying ships all over this city, and he doesn't decide to just jump in any old one. Like, he's been clearing people out of these things over and over already. And it's just like, no, that's the one.
You haven't done it with the Zeppelin yet, and I just assumed that the little gondolas wouldn't be able to make it.
Down? Down's the easy way.
Okay. All right.
You don't have to make it in New York, just make it down.
I guess that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. All right, you killed it. Way to go. You killed it. I have no counterpoint. Kyle, do you have a counterpoint?
But then we wouldn't have gotten to go to the Hall of Heroes.
There you go.
There you go. And we say Lord of the Rings. Then we wouldn't have a good epic story.
Exactly.
The eagles don't just come at your beck and call. You have to whisper into a moth. Come on.
Yeah, those are hard to find these days.
Exactly.
Especially a moth in the middle of a giant forge. You know how fast those things burn up? That was like the moth with little moth balls of steel.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I made a punny that I didn't even mean to make. Awesome.
Yeah, but it was pretty painful anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, like you said, Kyle, Booker finds this. Get to the airship. It needs to be powered by Shock Jockey, which is a vigor that we need. Which I think is the first time that vigors made any sense to exist in this world for me, and it was still pretty thinly veiled.
Yeah.
Like,
it's such a weird name, Shock Jockey. Like, if you just changed a little bit to Shocky Jock, it's a whole different product.
or just Shock Jock and just a picture of what's his face. Crap. Wow. Way to fail at the reference there, Garrett. Anyways, moving on.
Now you made me forget.
Yeah.
It's contagious.
Yeah. But anyways, very briefly after that, we get Elizabeth kind of expanding upon these tears. Let's take a look at that.
Is that?
It's a tear, something I can bring into this world.
It's a freight hook. Well, that's convenient.
As I said, it's a form of wish fulfillment. There. I feel there's more where it came from. Whenever I get anxious, tears have a way of appearing. Booker, do you see those tears? We can use them against Slate's men. That tear will get us access to higher ground. And that one will give us a turret.
And some cover.
Okay, so this is also introducing tears as a game mechanic, but more importantly, the nugget that I find interesting is the fact that she says, I feel like tears are a form of wish fulfillment.
Yeah. It's kind of like in stories like this, you have to take what they tell you as the canon, as the explanation, like the actual factual explanation. You can't just take it as, well, that's her idea. She's the character. You can't just have a random idea. If she has an idea, that's what it is. So in this case, she just has an idea that it's kind of wish fulfillment, but that doesn't make much sense compared to what they start explaining the tears are otherwise. And it just really gets confusing. Just this is the start of the compounding confusion of the tears.
Right. I mean, there's so much left open with the character that you could really take. There's a lot is explained through voxophones, but there's still a lot that you could take in any direction, which I find to be one of the most annoying things about the game, for me.
Yeah.
I feel like the rules aren't. They put in a lot of backstory. Like there's hours of voxophone crap you can listen to that explains a lot about this world, but they don't create a set of rules that make any sense and then adhere to those rules.
Yeah. And in a way, I mean, they try to explain so much of the important stuff, the very background stuff, in the voxophones, which are completely optional. And even an attentive player like myself missed a lot of them. And so I still don't understand a lot of it. I mean, I understand that the voxophone type stuff is a very successful form of storytelling in most things, and it's really kind of a hallmark of the Shock series going all the way back to BioShock 2 that I'm aware of, maybe even the first one. I just didn't play it. And it normally works extremely well when that is the sole method of storytelling. Like in BioShock 1. I mean, mainly the sole method. There's a couple cutscenes here and there. But how you figure things are going is through the messages that you find. In this case, it's kind of fighting it a little bit between this, this method of conveying the story and another one. I guess they felt they couldn't really explain everything's backstory through upfront cinemas and stuff. It would have bored everybody. But at the same time, if people really are just trucking through and don't get these things, they're going to be confused by the end.
I don't think I'll be super confused, and we're getting ahead of ourselves. Talk more about this when we talk about the ending of the game, but I don't know. I'm not dogging it. I'm just talking about the overall rules of this world. But yeah, you mentioned a lot of other games do this, and I think this is my favorite way of games doing this, because every other game you have to stop everything you're doing to listen to this bullshit. And Tomb Raider being one of the more recent games I played that made you do this. And I hadn't listened to jack shit because I didn't want to sit in a black screen with text and listen to some dude yammer on about the backstory of this island. I wanted to go explore and shoot people with a bow and arrow.
Now, what about Diablo 3? That does it very well, but there's also games like this one where they have too much. Dragon Age 2, even Mass Effect would have this issue where someone was having a perfectly good conversation and you really wanted to hear it, but damn it, you also wanted to go through this door, and walking through that door would ruin it. And this happened a number of times with a voxophone playing in the background, Elizabeth talking, and a bad guy yelling, "I'll smash your face in."
Yeah, well, at least with the voxophones you can just turn them back on in another quiet point, and they'll keep playing as you continue to play. And Diablo 3, I would argue, is exactly the same as BioShock in the way they handle backstory elements like that.
I just mean that they don't quite fit in as well as they have in previous things, kind of like the plasmids or vigors. They don't quite fit everything else they're trying to do here. They're grading a little bit to the formula.
Yeah, I guess I can see what you're saying there, because the big difference between BioShock Infinite and BioShock is that in BioShock, we came into Rapture after its prime. Shit had hit the fan, and we were having to piece things together. So having these relics of a time since past that let us piece them together really fit with the world.
Yeah.
And so the plasmids, they were the reason everyone was crazy or dead. Whereas now we have a populated world, so why not have characters that help explain this world to us in some shape or fashion?
Well, and made all the more apparent by something like Shock Jockey, who needs the power company. It gives this idea that, little mommy Comstock is home, powering her engine every night, with crystals bursting out of her hands and lightning ejecting from her fingertips.
Which is absurd. I really don't think.
I'll take the power company. Thank you very much.
I do not think that the frickin' vigors fit in this world. It really took me out of the game. Yes, chat room, I realize that it is quote-unquote explained in the ending of the game. I think it's a stupid explanation. It's bad writing. But, anywho's, still love the game. Continuing on with the story before I give away too much to Kyle, who hasn't completed the game. Okay, so we talked about, man, that one little clip, man, that derailed us.
Yeah, well, hey, the most important thing is there that it shows you have the option between, a balcony and a turret? Like, honestly, anytime I ran into a room here, I was looking, where's the turret? Where's the gun with the balloons? Where's my giant robot?
Where's the AI companion who kills stuff for me?
Exactly.
And did they dumb those suckers down whenever they were on your side. I mean, you're just like, all right, now I got the mechanical patriot. He's going to go kick their butts. And he's just rocking around like, I guess I'll just reload my gun a couple times. And, there's somebody. Pop, pop.
I mean, I still really like the Iron Patriots because they take a lot of damage, and they did work as a wonderful distraction. So I'd circle around back with my sniper rifle and take everyone out.
Yeah, but like you'd be lucky if that mechanical patriot managed to take out one freaking dude.
Oh, particularly when rocket launchers show up.
Yeah. I found the turrets were incredibly effective, though. I had turrets take out entire rooms. They were crazy accurate, which is good because the actual turrets in the game that you will go up against are stupid accurate.
Yeah.
Like you poke your head out for half a second, they hit you between the eyes. Oh man, some of the villains, some of the enemies in this game just made me want to scream.
I died many times.
Me too.
I really like the method because, well, first of all, I believe this is one of those games where I'm going to get to the end. It's going to say, "Would you like to play through again with everything you unlocked so far?" Because there's no way I can afford half the things and upgrades out of those.
Oh, you're going to be
vendors.
They have
really.
I
got to do it all in one go.
They got a harder mode that unlocks called 1999 mode, which sets it up to 1999 difficulty.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I wanted to just go back through on the same difficulty, but anyway, so we need the shock jockey. We find out that it is apparently in this place called the Hall of Heroes, or at least we can find some vigor there. And oh man, the Hall of Heroes. What a politically incorrect mess that is. It's like, oh, hey, the Order of the Raven, that was pretty bad, right? Well, how about we put genocide on a pedestal?
Well, sure.
That sound good?
And Mr. Toad's Wild Ride of Racism.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's put genocide on a pedestal and dress it up like it's a Disney World attraction.
Yeah, it's like it's a small world and we burned it.
Wow. Oh, that's great.
Personally, I was having a great time in this place. Lots of tight corridors. I'm sporting the bucking bronco vigor at this point, lifting people into the air in a straight line. I've put every single bottle I've found into mana or salts. So I've got a giant mana bar, just you in the air, shotgun in the chest.
Really? I never used a vigor ever unless I had to get somewhere with it.
I pretty much just kept the flame one on all the time because I just use it like grenades.
Okay, so Garrett used half and half, I guess, gunplay and vigors.
I use gunplay more than anything, but yes, I kept fire around for.
And Kyle, you used vigors a lot.
Actually,
every day.
And the possession vigor I used a ton, especially if there was an Iron Patriot, because it was like I thought they were just stupid hard to kill. Like the mechanic was get behind them, but there was like no trick to getting behind them. Sometimes they would just almost teleport to face you, and other times you could get behind them no problem. I couldn't figure it out.
It was kind of the weird AI of the game was meant to run right up your butt. Like they were all about chase you down as fast as you can, try to run away. The best way to actually handle them was to stand stock still and be like, I'm not going anywhere. And then they'd be all like, what? He's not running away. What do I do? Especially with the big handy dudes. Oh, I hated those so much.
They were awful. But
like if you tried to run from them, they'd just be like, and you would never get away.
Yeah, and then, damn, that heart was hard to shoot. But Al in the chat room makes a good point. I did find out way too late in the game that you could stun Iron Patriots with the electricity with Shock Jockey.
Really, guys? Like, have you never played a video game before? There's a system to teaching you. You found the Iron Patriots around where the vigor was, and that's clearly the vigor that's best against them.
Okay, I didn't figure that out, and I think what happened was the first time I tried Shock Jockey on a hard to kill enemy was the Handyman, and it doesn't do shit to them.
Nah, not too much.
So then I was like, well, it probably doesn't do shit to Iron Patriot. And then whatever happened, I had it equipped by accident. I was like, I'm going to throw a grenade at him. And I shocked him. I'm like, oh, frick, are you kidding me? This would have made the game so much easier. I was very angry. And thank you in the chat room and now reminding me of my anguish.
Well, see, I didn't use vigors at all, really. All I did was run around with the carbine and the hand cannon. So everywhere I went, it was just the carbine, one headshot per dude, one shot per kill. And then the hand cannon for anything that was bigger, and that was how I got through everything.
I kept the sniper rifle on me at all times, and then I had a shotgun for the large majority of the game, and then once I got the hand cannon, I was on that too. Although I found that it was kind of silly to have the sniper rifle and the hand cannon, because they're both pinpoint high damage guns, so it was like... So eventually I went back to the shotgun, because I needed something for close quarters.
Yeah.
Man. Frickin' Hall of Heroes. And this is where we get introduced to a new character. This Cornelius Slate, who's voice acted by Keith. Last name I'm not even going to attempt.
Zarabajka.
That sounds about as good as I'd have butchered it.
Mm.
But, yeah, he was apparently, according to this, Halo Force Didact.
Yep.
Huh. Can you
call him a busy
up
guy for that? For having a weird last name, he does a lot of stuff. Like you normally think people who are that busy would have a Hollywoodified name.
Yeah. Also, speaking of games that don't explain things good, can we call this guy up and have him explain what the hell the Didact is? I know it's in a book. I don't want to read books.
No, that would have pissed everybody off if they had done the same thing about here. Be like, hey, you want to know what went on in BioShock Infinite? You just have to read the book.
Yeah. I prefer it this way. At least it's all in the game, even if I have to piece it together. So Slate is kind of a big deal. He's like the head honcho of Comstock's forces, but he has since gone nuts and come to terms with the fact that Comstock is an evil son of a bitch.
And well, not only evil, but he stole all of his and Booker's achievements and claimed them for himself.
Right, I don't think we explained that good enough. Yeah, Booker and Slate know each other. They were in the armed forces together during the different wars that are celebrated in the Hall of Heroes, and Comstock has taken credit for all of their victories.
Yeah. I never actually got to do any fighting in the Army, but I guess if someone took credit for everything I did, I'd be pretty pissed too.
I forgot you were in the Army at one point. That's a good point. Yeah, and Slate is very much one of these old-timey, like, lives for war kind of generals.
Sure, doesn't know anything else, but now he's completely failed and locked up inside the Hall of Heroes.
The whole thing kind of smacks of General Custer. They even mention him a couple times. Mm-hmm. The Honorable General Custer.
Right. Yeah. So he's just gone mad, locked up in the Hollow Genocide, and basically, like, I guess, what's the plot for having to fight all of his dudes? He's just like, Comstock's gonna kill us anyway, so I'd rather my men die at your hands. Is that why he decides to try and kill Booker?
Pretty much. That's the best way to put it. Like, he calls them all tin soldiers, I guess. Maybe he's referring to the actual 10 soldiers of the Mechanical Patriots. Like, he doesn't want his guys to die to robots.
I think he's generalizing, saying that anyone that fights for Comstock is a tin soldier.
Okay.
That's the vibe I got. That whether you are an Iron Patriot or you are a human being, if you are dumb enough to fight for this man, that you are just another machine in his...
Oh, you don't think he was alluding to, like, the War of the Machines, like Terminator or something like that?
No, I think...
I've seen Judgment Day!
Well, with the Terrors, you never know.
Yeah,
he might have gone to visit Elizabeth one day, and she's like, hey, you want to see some crazy shit? Whoa! Cyberdyne? What's Cyberdyne? Jesus Christ, walking skeletons!
On September 1482, this statue of George Washington becomes self-aware.
And hovers across that damn river. Yeah, so, I mean, there's so much, there's so many little nuggets you can go into here. But there's a lot more we need to talk about. But I mean, well, that's the gist. I mean,
yeah. What you basically have going on here is a lot like in BioShock 1, where you meet the artist and the actor in his theater. It's just kind of a collage of a crazy man, but now in our new game, we need to find a way to make that personal to you, the character Booker, who is a speaking role. So things seem a little kind of half done, back and forth, but it's new technology.
Yeah. I mean, it is a little shallow, and it's kind of stretching for, what this guy's psychosis is. And the actual, thing of, oh, look, the gondola broke. We have to go get the shock jockey. Guess who's got it? The crazy dude. It's a little, half-baked as far as an obvious side quest to take some time. But it's done very well as far as giving Booker more backstory and giving him and Elizabeth more time to bond. And for her to realize what's going on with him.
Yeah, because, I mean, you're offing people right and left. And she's just been freed from the tower. So, she's a little freaked out by this. But
okay, did you guys, I killed people with the melee weapon as often as I possibly could, just because I thought it was hilarious to hear her be like, oh God, every time you do that.
Sometime. I don't think... I know how you play video games, Mike, and it's just what's the most ridiculous thing I can do at all times? I'm going to keep doing it. I don't play that way. I just love a good headshot. Lining up a perfect headshot with a sniper rifle just makes me happier than a clown. So that's how I offed most people. That being said, that's why I hated the Hall of Heroes, because it was all close quarters and my sniper rifle was more or less useless.
Having the time of my life with wizard and shotgun. But... You got, I don't know, she seems a little too surprised from my theory of the game so far. Because when you first meet her again, she goes, are you real? She knows you from somewhere? Or as if she summoned you out of some other world? You're a killing machine, and she's learning that you used to be a killing machine.
Yeah. But I mean,
used to be, but you're also kind of sad about it.
Right. And... I don't know how... Because it's also a video game, so you're going to be killing a lot of people, but at the same time, it's one thing to know someone was a soldier and murdered people. To watch someone kill 40 people without blinking an eye would probably make you go, whoa, at the very least. If not say, hey, I think I'm going to go back to what's left of my tower.
Or at the very least, not gasp, oh my God, every time I off somebody with the pinwheel of death, and just be like, really? Again? Come on. You're just doing this to piss me off now.
It's like the episode of South Park. Can't shoot people in the nuts butters. So anyway, we battle through the Hall of Heroes. We defeat Slate, and you get a choice. Much like being a racist bastard like Kyle, or a good human being like everyone else, and not throwing the baseball. You can either kill Slate, who's very injured and probably going to die anyway, or you can just spare him.
Oh, I see how you're going to twist this on me.
I wasn't twisting.
Did you spare him? Did you spare the white man?
Roll the clip.
I'm rolling the clip.
You're not done here, soldier! Eat everything that's on your plate! Finish it! You're a tin man now! A tin man!
You let him live?
He was just nuts.
It's a conspiracy.
Actually, I'd let him live too.
No, I put a bullet in his head.
The man... First of all, I don't hate him as much as Comstock. And secondly, I did not like him, and he's bleeding out, man. He's gonna. It was a bigger shame for him to sit there, all of his soldiers dead, bleeding out in a museum to victories that should have been his.
Heck no, I'm freaking Brock Sampson up in there.
Oh, okay. All right.
And like I said before, my grandmother raised me to eat everything on my plate.
You're not done, soldier. All right, fair enough, man. I mean, it's interesting. I don't think it says as much about you as beating people to death with baseballs, but still. Yeah.
They do have these weird little... I don't know if they affect anything other than maybe some bonuses. I know like the actual throwing a baseball thing does affect a bonus thing you can get later on. I don't know about this one. I don't know about the one that was a little earlier than this with the picking the brooch.
Yeah, we skipped it entirely. Yeah, you pick a brooch for Elizabeth. The twins show up again. And
yeah, the cage of the bird. I really don't know what effect that has on anything, if anything, other than just building character in your mind.
That's a good point. What'd you guys all pick?
The bird.
Bird.
Okay, bird. Okay, so none of us are... Kyle, I was really hoping you to say cage. I could just be like, okay, so you're racist and you're a misogynist.
God, you're already calling a ball. A ball. You know what that causes? A welt. You're talking about like I went and made a bat of balls and killed them.
A bat of balls. No, but I would say that just a rock. You know what a rock does?
Saves my ass. I found out anyway.
Oh, that's great. And I'm really glad that you get caught either way. So at least Kyle's like, well, I'll be racist to save my own ass. And you still get punished for it. It's wonderful. So we've got our shock jockey. We've killed or let Slate live. It really doesn't seem to affect the game either way. We assume he dies even if you let him live.
No, you actually find him later.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
I don't remember finding Slate later.
He's in a side room. He's not up to much.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Basically lobotomized.
Fun.
Oh, wow. How did I miss... I'm sad I missed that. I explored the crap out of this game. But I guess you can just miss some stuff. So, anyway, we go back to... Booker goes back to the airship, fires it up with some shock jockey, and they take off.
Well, you also, before you get there, have your first big arena of the game. And you're already like 4 hours into this thing, but it seems like the game's just starting to open up. And you have lots of railings to ride along in a big, big fight scene.
Yeah. I think we said last game that the shooting in this game, or at last show that the shooting in this game isn't really anything special, but I do like the rail mechanic. It is fun. It is damn fun.
But I would agree with Mike that it's like they want it to be hectic, and the second you stop being hectic is when you realize how odd people are moving. That guy's not really taking any cover.
Yeah, like if you don't do what they're expecting you to do, they don't really have a backup programming.
Right, because as I mentioned, for the most part, that's not how I play. I like to sneak around with a rifle and get you from far away.
Exactly.
And the game doesn't lend itself to that kind of gameplay very well.
That's why I dropped the sniper rifle right when we were in the Hall of Heroes, because I totally like sniping too, but then it just wasn't working, so I went back to the carbine, because you can do everything you can do with the sniper rifle with the carbine. It's just much better for close quarters. So I was I was no scoping everybody, just bap, one for you, bap, one for you, bap, one for you. And
there's a level much, much later on in the game where I was so happy I had a sniper rifle. Mike knows exactly what I'm talking about, I'm sure. But yeah, it was fun. When I did use the rail system, I really liked it. It promoted this kind of hectic play. Which, as a character, I don't know. Do you think Booker would be the sniper rifle type, or do you think he'd be like the machine gun type?
I think that really actually does vary on how you're playing it. Like, what's in your mind? Are you the Brock Sampson who's just like with me, where you're just running around with a knife because guns aren't my style? Or, are you the badass sniper who's way in the back taking care of business without being seen?
Well, it's just how I like to play the game. But if I were to actually kind of peg the character, I think he's much more of like a run and gun type guy. He looks like Han Solo, for Christ's sake. I could see Booker DeWitt running through the halls of the Death Star going, ah!
Yeah, just totally why I shot first in every situation I was given.
Good man. George Lucas will re-edit you next year. So we're on the airship, and we set coordinates, and apparently Booker forgot that Elizabeth did nothing for her entire life but read books, and goes, "Wait a minute there, Sally. That ain't coordinates to Paris." And Booker tells the truth. And what happens when we tell the truth, guys?
Monkey wrench.
Monkey wrench to the side of the head. She got
It's a nice justice. That's like Gordon Freeman getting knocked out by a crowbar, you know? The monkey wrench. BioShock 1.
Yeah,
bringing it back.
I was about to say, she got all BioShock 1 on his ass.
Yeah.
So then we wake up to a scene I didn't expect and was kind of confused by. I was like, oh man, okay, we're totally moving along. I'm going to be on Comstock's doorstep this next level. Nope. Now I wake up to Daisy Fitzroy and her Vox Populi. So, a new character. Daisy was voiced by Kimberly Brooks, who's famous for playing the space racist Ashley Williams in Mass Effect.
Irony.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Kyle, I know you're a Mass Effect nut, so I just have to ask real quick. What's your opinion of Ashley Williams?
Well, I let her die. Like both times I played through.
Oh, okay. She's alive in mine.
That's just because I have history with that other guy. I mean, that's Cartho Nassi from Knights of the Old Republic 1, and then doing Caden in Mass Effect.
Mass Effect's got to be an odd game as a voice actor. Because there's voice actors who now voice characters for all three games, but you could have gotten them killed off in the first game. Meaning that there's a massive amount of the player base that has not heard your work for 2 years, or for 2 games.
That is kind of weird. I wonder if they ever thought about that. Just like, I wonder if anyone, if they just hate my character so much, they just don't even know what I'm doing the third game.
We talked to... I know people are very vocal about this stuff, because we talked to Neil Kaplan, who did Tychus and StarCraft, but he was also the only other guy I know of to voice Optimus Prime. And one of the stories he told, he's like, I have people just come up to me and right to my face say, "You're not my favorite." And he's just like, thanks. Who does that?
Fanboys.
Anyways, so we wake up to Daisy Fitzroy, who is the alleged murderer of Lady Comstock, Comstock's wife. That's what she's wanted for.
Yeah. She's really channeling some Malcolm X in this scene right here.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The Vox Populi are this radical counterculture to everyone who's all the low end, the races who aren't white, who are working in the manufacturing district of Columbia. And the Vox Populi are sick of it and are led by Daisy Fitzroy, who is known for having killed Comstock's wife. That's what she's wanted for murder. Right.
And the Vox Populi, just so you know, Latin for voice of the people. So when they say Vox, they're just saying voice. But I don't think CeeLo Green has anything to do with the Vox.
Oh, man. You should write for a really bad late night talk show.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Thank God he's leaving the air again. Hopefully he'll stay gone this time. Anyways. Yeah, and she's all like, well, this is my airship, so you gotta do me a favor. I need some guns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I have a clip for Get Some Guns. I'm gonna play that right now.
Comstock is the god of the white man, the rich man, the pitiless man. But if you believe in common folk, then join the Vox. If you believe in the righteous folk, then join the Vox.
My ship.
And the Vox shall give her to you. But first, you must help the Vox. Down in Finkton, there's a gunsmith who can supply weapons to our cause. Get our guns from him, and you shall have your ship back.
I don't know about you guys, but when I ask someone a favor, I don't push them out of a moving vehicle. I sure as shit don't push them in a moving vehicle that's flying.
Like on their back too. He doesn't even like wait for you to be like, all right, now be sure to land with your knees bent or anything like that. He just pushes you right out.
Yeah, it's just like, see ya. So they've got our ship. If we want it back, we need to get guns from some guy in, what is it, Finston? What's the town called?
Finkton.
Finkton.
And once again, it's not like this dock has any other flying ships just kind of chilling there.
We can. I think we can leave that alone. I think you
just wanted to bring that back just for one more time, and then now we're good.
We can berate Kyle for 2 more episodes about being a racist, but I don't think we need to mention how many flying ships there are in this game. Also, Elizabeth is missing, so we're not going to leave without Elizabeth.
Right.
So, anyways. So this is where we're introduced to this manufacturing district that's very different in looks to what we've seen so far in Colombia.
Well, sure. And in the first few moments you're here, you have this TikTok going in the background. You see a nice little infomercial about how simple life is great for you and you should just do your job and wake up and do your job again. But the music immediately starts like screeching and getting off, and the whole place is just it's insane, like everywhere else.
Yeah, it's nuts. And that beginning part, that loading dock, no one's shooting at you. But did anyone else go into the office and loot something, and then everyone wanted you dead?
Yeah, and actually the second time I went through this, I just came out and was like, hey, look, a guard, boom, and just started the fight.
Yeah, because there was there's equipment or something in there, and I really wanted it, so I took it, and I'm like, and the people in the office turn on me like, okay, all right, but then I walk out, and the whole world had been alerted to my presence, apparently.
Yeah, because they weren't before when you were running around the docks with, armed to the teeth. But whatever.
Yeah,
like I don't understand.
That bothered me. I died so many times, because then it res me in the office, and then I was stuck, and everyone was just bearing down on me. It took me forever to get out of there. But probably just didn't use vigors correctly, much like fighting Iron Patriots. So yeah, this area. I mean, it's dirty. It's smoky, and there is propaganda everywhere. Just in case you had forgotten how completely ass backwards this world is.
Well, one of the first things you come across is a group auctioning as to who can do the least amount of time and get paid for it to fix a pipe.
I missed this entirely.
Yeah, you walk into that center, you got the Good Times Club, you got the factory. It's kind of your quest hub for this next area. And there on the wall is a big list of jobs, and they have an auctioneer reading off what jobs there are to do that day and who will do them for the least amount of money.
Well, that's kind of once you get off the docks, but yeah. It's the whole idea of like industrialism gone mad, like Industrial Revolution in England, with Oliver Twist and all that good stuff. Please sir, can I have some more? Like that kind of stuff. Everybody is exploited for the pure benefit of the CEOs. Like this is the reason why unions came about.
Right, and we get introduced to another character, albeit kind of just by posters at first, the Jeremiah Fink, who's the guy who runs all of this. He's apparently obscenely wealthy and runs all of the manufacturing in Colombia. And I just freaking found out that he's the guy who hands you the baseball or is trying to incite the crowd against the interracial couple in the beginning of the game, which I did not know.
Yeah. He's kind of the superstar, probably the only other person on or in Colombia that could even compete with Comstock as far as cult of personality.
Right. Exactly. He definitely, as far as power. I mean, he has the money and the manufacturing, so he has a lot of weight to throw around.
Yeah. Here's the number 2.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, needless to say, he's the target for the Vox Populi. I mean, he's on all their posters as the enemy, and then you walk around his town and he's just like, I'm great. There's like giant brass statues to him, and it's just everywhere.
The whole place is decadent, most certainly, and you're trying to complete this mission of getting the guns, and along the way, he takes some notice of you and wants to hire you as his main muscle, by which there is an audition process, which he throws probably about 40 lives into the pit.
I love this audition process. It's wonderful. It's like the Joker. We're going to have tryouts.
Yeah.
Except there's 40 guys, and they all have guns. That was great. I thought that was a fun way to be like, all right, it's time to introduce another reason for you to fight a bunch of dudes. I didn't love Slate's reasoning. I love Fink's reasoning.
Yeah, they did a really good job of mixing that up in this game as far as, why you're shooting everyone that you see.
Yeah. So anyways, obviously if you've continued past this point, you succeeded the audition, but Booker also is just like, I have no interest in being your strong arm. I don't want to go beat up underpaid workers, which is funny because it's implied that he's a Pinkerton. Is that
it? Yeah, former Pinkerton. Pinkerton's being a private detective agency that was started, in the 1850s or so. At one point, at their height, they had more people in this agency than there were standing members in the U.S. Army. And they were actually outlawed in Ohio for being a threat to the government.
Wow.
Just kind of crazy to think about, a private army of that size. And they were used by industrialists to go strike break, basically, be goon squads, hired muscle.
Right. I mean, you mentioned off stream that Fink is like a carbon copy of Henry Clay Frick.
Right.
Frick, by the way, such a fitting last name for someone this evil. I breezed through his Wikipedia before today's episode, and I'm like, wow, I'm the Joker from the first Tim Burton Batman movie, man. I am glad you're dead. I'm so glad you're dead.
I'm glad you're dead.
It's the best line in that movie. How has that not become a meme, by the way? I've always wondered how that has not become a meme.
It's too easy.
Okay, fair enough. So, it's funny that Booker just has no interest, since we're implied that in his past history that he did this for money, that he went and beat up poor people who were trying to better their rights as workers, just to quell strikes.
Well, with Elizabeth, we're going on a bit of a spiritual journey here. I mean, by catching up with her, we've basically promised that we're not going to turn her into our guys in New York. Right.
Yeah, it's funny when you try and talk about the big story beats, you can miss such little stupid things. We completely skipped over the mini chase with Elizabeth, where you almost fall to your death and she spawns a blimp to save your butt.
Which is interesting because she talks about that wish fulfillment, and yeah, she has to pull from these things that either already happened or happened in the same place but in another universe. But still, I'm sure that kind of stuff has happened everywhere. You're just pulling for particulars when you need them. So when you're chasing her, she summons some balloons to get in your way. She summons a marching band, a train.
Yeah, and actually that adds a lot more believability to the thought of it being wish fulfillment.
Yeah.
Which is good. So, anyways, back to our tryouts in the Good Times Lounge. We go deeper into the Good Times Lounge and find out that the Good Times Lounge is also the Good Times Prison. It has many levels of detention facilities.
Yeah. No good times happening in there.
Yeah. And this whole time we're looking for Chen, by the way, who is the manufacturer who has the guns that Daisy Fitzroy needs. And he's apparently being held in the Good Times Lounge. So we're going down to the detention level, which just makes me think of Death Star. And is this where you find Slate still alive, Kyle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess that makes a lot more sense. Man, I could have sworn I scoured every single jail cell. Huh. But I'm just so gonna reboot this up after the show tonight and go find that. But it's a great game to replay through, by the way. Once you beat it. So we find Chen, more or less. He just unfortunately is suffering from a bad case of being dead.
Not just dead, but beaten to a California raisin. He just doesn't even look human anymore.
Who's job, what poor intern was like, all right, you need to render out this beaten to death Chinese man. Have fun on Google search for reference.
Oh, man.
Just going through piles of images of people with giant blood-filled welts.
This game also makes you activate the next beat by walking up to him and pressing E or whatever the controller equivalent may be. But it's funny, I don't always know that's going to happen. Sometimes I think I'm still in a previous pre-scripted thing, such as the thing where you're watching Elizabeth cry. I probably stood there for 2 minutes, and he's going like, "Oh, don't cry." I had no idea I was supposed to walk up behind her and console her and get hit in the face. So in this instance, I'm standing around this dead guy forever, and Elizabeth's starting to sob, and I'm searching all around the room, no idea. I'm going to the front. I've seen what happened to him, but yes, I have to walk up behind him, turn around slowly, and go, "Mister, are you okay?"
Wizard with a shotgun, but not very observant.
I guess I didn't have that problem, but like I said, I looked at everything. At first I'm like, oh crap, the guy's dead, and then I'm like, does he have anything in his pockets? So I go behind him and I start looking for stuff, and I triggered the thing, no problem. But it was a gruesome scene, and it led to our next meeting with the twins.
No.
Dead is dead, Elizabeth.
Dead is dead.
What? The hell did...
I see heads.
And I see tails.
It's all a matter of perspective.
Why are you following us? Who sent you? Comstock? What do you want?
What do you see here from this angle?
Dead.
Listen.
And that angle?
Alive.
Booker. Chen Lin.
The body's gone.
It was never here.
It's another Columbia.
A different Columbia.
The same coin.
A different perspective.
Heads.
Tails.
Dead.
Alive.
We have to go through to this other Columbia, but
It's like riding a bicycle.
One never really forgets.
One just needs the courage to climb aboard.
Okay, so the twins are back. They've taken an extra dose of cryptic.
Bit of Twilight Zone thrown in.
Quite a bit, actually. I love the twins.
Yeah.
So much. So there's a tear conveniently right next to Chen.
Well, we're made to think that his death is so monumental it makes the tear.
I never thought of it that way, but
Neither did I.
that could work.
That makes sense. And again, going back to wish fulfillment. I mean, Elizabeth is our conduit for all of this.
Right. And here we start to see, the terrors being more than just a gameplay thing. Like, now they're going to start to drive the story. Here's this tear. Okay, he's dead here, but in another world, he's still alive. So we're going to play sliders. And we're going to go to the other world and try to get this alive Chen.
Right.
This is a, kind of another increment higher in the whole the realm of what the terrors are to this game and what the terrors are to the storyline. Because previous to that, they'd just been kind of this weird, funky thing that she could do to manipulate the battlefield a little bit.
Well,
Right,
they
exactly.
stayed black and white. And in this case, you move into the portal and things are black and white for a bit, which I thought would stay that way. Clearly we're going to go back. This isn't that big of a beat to happen here. But no, everything evens out. Everything goes full color, and the decision is permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's,
I had the exact same thought as you, Cal. I thought we were going to be moving back and forth between realities.
yeah. Nope. She's got kind of an improbability drive in her butt. Surprised one of the times you didn't just show up as a ball of yarn.
Oh, wonderful reference. Yeah, exactly. So it's weird. So we move into. I've just been numbering the Columbias, so I just call this Columbia 2.
Sure.
Because for us, it's the second Columbia. In the realm of this game and the whole theory of multiple universes, there could be an infinite number of Columbias, and who's to say what you would order them in? But yeah, for our purposes, we'll call this Columbia 2,
Right.
where Chen is still alive. The interesting thing is we go back, or we go through the tear. We're in the exact same location, but in another version of our universe. In this version, Chen's still alive. So we're leaving the jail. We're moving back up through the Good Times Club, and everyone we've killed is back, but they're kind of broken.
Yeah, they're not having a good time with it.
No, they're just like holding their heads, or they're like moving like they're dying, or like the innards have been removed. It's weird. It's very, very weird.
Well, they justify it by saying that you can remember the previous universe if something like death happened in it.
So we as viewers or people?
They themselves, like they're kind of like zombified. They're not attacking us, but they're so overwhelmed by the sensation of remembering dying and now being alive.
But if there's multiple universes, isn't there always going to be a universe where you died? So wouldn't everyone just be useless?
Yeah, but don't think about it too much.
Yeah, I think
that's what it comes down to. Is, you know what?
Yeah.
Don't think about that. Don't think about
Or
it.
do the universes not exist until we step into them? So is the universe formed around Elizabeth's reality, what she's experienced?
Or are they only affected because they were in close proximity to Elizabeth? Like,
that's a good point too. So
we don't know.
This continues when we find Chen. We go back to Chen's workshop, and he's there, but he's also acting weird as hell. He's trying to work on machines that are not there.
Yep, and his wife changed.
Oh, his wife did change,
which is kind of interesting. So it's not so much that here's the universe.
He had a religious idol set up when you first go. Is it Buddha?
Buddhism.
It's Buddhism. Mm-hmm. And when you come back, it's Comstock.
Right.
Okay.
Now, they kind of try to explain a little bit of the whole crazy walking around with your nose bleeding thing as the mind will desperately attempt to create memories where there are none when traveling through whatever the hell. Doesn't quite make sense to me. Like, I'm pretty sure if I could remember dying somewhere else, I wouldn't just walk around working on fake machines with a nosebleed. But that's just me. Like, I'm a little more practical than that, I guess.
Yeah, this is where I start to get a little more, take a little more umbrage with the how fast and loose they're playing with their narrative.
Yeah, they're taking a very theatrical bent with it.
It starts to dip into, it's just magic. It becomes too convenient for the sake of the story, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I hope we get emails.
I mean, it's not quite to the realm of like Metal Gear Solid where anything and everything is explained with nanomachines. But
hey, do you want to get some emails? I hate Metal Gear Solid.
Everybody hates Metal Gear Solid. Come on.
But even if they came out and said there was midi-chlorians or real live magic or she's the spawn of Comstock and aliens, it doesn't really matter. They couldn't get that deep into what really saved his life, which may have been, worshiping Comstock and having a white, happy wife. And in this situation, he never got involved in the resistance. And that's why things are the way they are. And there's this combination between the previous universe. They just don't have the time.
Oh, I think all that's great. I'm just talking about the rules of the world. They set this rule that if you died previously, there's going to be something wrong with you in the reality that we're currently in. But later on, they're not consistent with that rule, which we'll get into here in just a bit. I actually didn't even think about your reasoning, though. I think that's brilliant. That he's alive because he's worshiping the proper god and has a white wife.
I think that's what they kind of allude to there, but at the same time, okay, why is he walking around, they still don't explain why they do the whole false memories, nose bleeding type thing very well.
Mm-hmm. Well, until that point, I thought it was consistent. There's an event we're just about to talk about that became inconsistent for me. Anyway, so in this world, he's alive, but his machines are missing. So he can't make the guns without the machine, so we need to go find the machine, which you find out is in the shantytown, in the impound. There's a police station in the shantytown being where all of the workers live. It's like the lowest, like the poorest sector of Colombia.
I think at this point, I was getting a little tired of, damn it, every time I have to go do something, there's another frickin' detour to go do something else to do that. This guy wants a hat. Well, now I have to go over to this guy and get a hat from him, but he wants a bucket of water. Okay. Okay, now I got to go to this other guy. He has a bucket of water, but he wants me to fry an egg for him. Like all this stuff that just keeps going and going and going. It feels like it just wants something to happen that says it was going to happen.
Yeah, and Elizabeth's feeling this too, and that's the reason she seems to hurry things up a little bit with her magic powers. It's as if you get all the way to like Wrathgate in World of Warcraft, and someone says, "All right, fire the catapults full of boar's feet." What? They never went to the Barrens and got boar's feet? No!
Wow. I would slow clap, but that would be bad for the podcast audience. Yeah, and I agree with you, Mike, that I was having a similar feeling, except when you would start to go on this other side thing and you take you to another part of Colombia, I very quickly would just be like, oh man, I'm glad I'm here, because every area was cool and well thought out, and it built more upon this mythos of this crazy city that I honestly couldn't get enough of.
Yeah, I mean that's where you really forgive so much about a lot of the gameplay stuff that they're forced to kind of stick to with this game, is the fact that there's so much meat attached to the bones, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's good meat.
It is. It's damn good. The characters are so well done. I love them. I love them all. So we go to the shantytown. Stuff doesn't look good. The people living there are obviously in severe squalor and poverty. Anyway, we break into the impound. We find Chen's machines, and of course, they're huge. So we're like, oh crap, how are we gonna get these back to Chen's? Elizabeth, oh look, a tear. So we got the.
Yep.
So, I'm glad she's been locked in a tower. Let's say it that way, because growing up, she's a little angsty. She doesn't want to do the dishes. I'm just gonna jump in this universe where, oh my god, squid monsters, but at least the dishes are done.
Yeah. There's no toilets in Colombia. Well, I guess I'll just poop in this tear and forget about it. Like, it's no problem.
God, this is terrible. Somewhere there's a dark fan fiction. So yeah, they just open a tear and like, well, here's a universe where the machines are back at Chen's workshop and Chen's alive. Or at least they're making a very, very broad assumption.
Well, maybe it builds on itself. And that makes a lot of sense, because that explains why dead people would be all freaked out if it is building on herself. We know we made Chen alive. Now we need to have these machines not be here in the impound.
Right, so she opens a tear and there's no machines there, so we're assuming, okay, well, if they're not there, they must be back at Chen's. So they step through the tear into what I call Columbia 3. Welcome.
So Columbia 3, yeah. I still can't quite get behind the logic of, well, if they aren't here, then in the entire wide world, they must only be in the place we want them to be. Like, yes, it works very good for a story, but man, it's just so hard to follow that logic.
Right, this is where it kind of starts.
They cover it up with some smoke and mirrors here real quick, because we immediately are in Revolution. And you're thinking, you've played video games before, you've done side quests before, most certainly, and you're going to go get this, you're going to go get the guns, then you need to go to their hideout and like have the coming to heart where you sit there, and then you need to like infiltrate or like pretend to be someone else so there can be the revolution, and they just skip it all, which I loved.
Yeah. Well, they're really good about, they bring up all these things that would, if you sat and thought about them too darn much, you're going to get a little like, whoa, but then they distract you with awesome stuff like revolutions.
Right. And at the end of the day, I kind of write off the tears as a device for them to speed up time, but you got to see where the seeds started to grow beforehand. Yeah. We got to see Daisy Fitzroy before the Vox Populi were even a remote threat. Then we got to see the not even really the in-between stages. The first tear we go through into Columbia 2, there's not a whole lot going on with the Vox Populi there. Right? Or they're revolting, right? But it's kind of hinted at.
Well, they're being rounded up. They're not in full, like, out-and-out shit-hitting-the-fan revolt.
Right.
They're being, at that point, they're being put down. Mm-hmm. And this one, it's gone past the whole point of being suppressed to the flames have caught.
Right. We step into this second tear, into the third version of Columbia, and it's open war. I mean, bombs going off, airships in the sky firing on one another.
Well, it's practically open victory, and we really see that whole idea of, absolute power corrupts absolutely. She's gone nuts with her power.
Yeah. Well, the more important thing is when we step out, or first into this victory, we see posters of us, of Booker, the hero of the Vox Populi. You're just going, wait, what? Huh? Come again? And not only is Booker celebrated as a hero of the Vox Populi, he dead. Booker is a martyr in this reality of Columbia, which is where then I start to circle the drain back again. I'm like, well, wait, if it was building upon itself, then why is Booker... my brain hurts.
Well, let's just say that it's like a Wishmaster type thing where Elizabeth needs to be a hell of a lot more specific with what she wishes for, because the Wishmaster is just going to screw you every time he can.
Draw up a legal contract before making a wish with the Wishmaster.
But this isn't the first time that we've bled out of our nose. The first time was when we met Comstock, and he says it always ends with blood. And you go, oh, I guess it did end with blood once in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be touching on a little something there.
You are warm. That's what I'll tell you. Yeah, exactly. So it still hurts my brain because of other stuff. But all right, this is where we don't know. We'll play this clip first, then we'll come back and I'll go on my mini rant.
Hello? Fink?
I saw you die, Booker. Saw it with my own eyes.
Fitzroy. Listen, I got you your guns. I'm here for my airship.
But my Booker DeWitt died for the Vox Populi. You either an imposter or a ghost. My Booker DeWitt was a hero to the cause, a story to tell your children. You just complicate the narrative.
So Daisy is so self-deluded that a hero of her people has come back from the dead, and she's like, you're just going to make things too complicated, you have to die.
Well, we don't know how you died. You didn't know if it was like a long, drawn-out speech on a medical bed, and then it would be pretty traumatic to have that man come back. Not to mention, ever since she killed Comstock's wife, she's been, according to the statues anyway, hunted nonstop. She might be a little paranoid.
Could be.
True.
Really, it's kind of shown that if you put her and Comstock on a wheel, as far as like how far apart they are, they'd be pretty much touching because they're so far apart on each scale that they're almost exactly the same now. He is the super cult of personality. What would you say? That's like the fascist, and she's like the super, like, built up her own cult of personality, like socialist.
Mm-hmm. It's exactly what it is. Maybe this says something about me. I would have to say I lean towards Daisy because at least she doesn't judge people based on race.
Well,
to an extent.
She's
if
accepting.
If you're dressed nicely, she's gonna.
She's accepting of more racist than Comstock. We'll put it that way.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. If you're gonna go on the numbers, then yes, okay.
Yeah, no, she's absolutely batshit crazy. Off her rocker. It was just like, who's more evil, Hitler or Stalin? They're both terrible human beings.
Yeah.
Well, and we pursue her and fight many of her forces. But eventually we find her up in the tower, which, if you're saying the guy with the baseball was Fink, then I guess she kills Fink up there. Because we see a guy with his back to us with the top hat get struck down.
It is Fink. I looked it up on a bunch of wikis. It's confirmed.
Which is disappointing, because throughout the voiceovers, which they're wonderful, Fink going, believe me, I want to give you a 6-hour day, but damn it, you'll gamble, and I can't allow this. Just his insanity. But through it, he's given some, coughing, and he's even wheezing at times. And you know who else coughs and wheezes? Is the handyman. So I fully expected to fight a Fink handyman, and I do believe that at one time they planned to have a Fink handyman fight.
That would have been interesting. I didn't catch that. I always just figured it was like nervousness as he got more and more like down the line of, of getting closed off. Like he could, smell it coming for him. He was getting more nervous and
so he's like
losing his cool.
Words, yeah.
But that would have been interesting. And I was kind of expecting a boss fight with him. And then when you show up and Daisy's like, I got it. Just blows his brains out right in front of his son.
Into war paint.
And the warp end, she wipes his brains off the window and just urukais that stuff across her face. Manflesh.
Did you just make urukai a verb?
Yep.
Congratulations. The man parts. Not even flesh at that point. Man innards. Woof. Yeah, that's that was rough. So you find Daisy, you find I almost said Fitzroy. It's Fink. It's stupid F names. I get them. I was getting them confused during the game too. So she's cornered Fink and Fink's boy, his son, his young child. Kills Fink and so she grabs the boy and runs back into the hallway. Booker and Elizabeth come around to another window and she's gonna kill the boy. So Booker hoists Elizabeth up into an air duct and starts distracting Daisy. Elizabeth just comes in and stabs her in the heart with the biggest pair of scissors I've ever seen.
My grandmother used to cut my hair with shears that big. It was terrifying.
What to say? God.
With the wiggly grandma hands coming at you.
I hope she didn't have wobbly grandma hands.
I don't know how I still have earlobes.
No, man. My dad used to cut my hair. He used to nip my ears a couple times, but with normal scissors.
Yeah. Now, on the first playthrough, this was a very, emotional scene. Like, you see she stabs Daisy, and Daisy's choking and spitting blood all over, and it kind of crawls up to her. And Elizabeth's, like, so traumatized by it.
Yeah.
And then on the second playthrough, I get to be more jaded, and all I can think of is... scissor me timbers. Like,
wait, what?
Oh my god, she scissored her to death.
I was making scissor jokes too.
Oh my god. Wow. Well, apparently I'm the odd man out, I guess. Wow.
I must say that this was the finest blood flow I have ever seen in a video game. Most of the times the guys are down and then the pool starts up, but this was gushing out the back across a white shirt. And it looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I hope Fox and Friends listens to this show for the next time they're complaining about violent video games.
Right?
This game is so violent. And it's even, it's drawn criticism from other game makers as far as the violence goes. Like, Cliff Bleszinski of,
the man who
of Gears of War fame was saying that this game was like the violence took away.
You can make people's assholes shoot fire in Bulletstorm. Cliff Bleszinski doesn't get to judge.
Well, I think it's all about what you consider violence to be in a story. And this thing, I think the developers were all about the violence is the epitome of stripping away the false beauty of Columbia, to seeing how ugly everything really is in this world. To someone like Cliff Bleszinski, violence is just some crazy stuff you can do when you stick a chainsaw on a gun and ram it through somebody's torso, and it's just kind of a cheap thrill. And if he was seeing it that way, then all he's seeing is crazy cheap thrills all over his Art Deco.
I do kind of... what do you guys think of this? I think it did kind of take away to a point. I understood there should be violence, but it was so over the top. And since there's this pseudo-cartoony look to the humans, I found the Skyhook kills humorous.
Yeah, I could have done
laughed. The first time I was just like, oh my god. I had the same reaction as to watching something like Evil Dead or Dead Alive.
Well, it was a little Dead Alive or Evil Dead as well. Like the guy in Austin Powers standing in front of the steamroller yelling no. When you're flying down those ramps and those chains and you do the jump, they stand perfectly still, probably for a good 50 feet jump right at them. Nah.
Yeah, that is pretty ridiculous. And I could have done without a lot of the Skyhook stuff. As much fun as I really had with that, if it came to making the story that much more serious, I suppose. But you can't just have nothing but gloom and doom. You got to have some fun in here too.
It didn't completely ruin the game for me. I really enjoyed this game, even though I know I've been getting hung up on some narrative threads, so I'm sure people would argue otherwise. But I did really, really enjoy this game.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this game would be a lot more toned down without BioShock 1 in the background. But in that game, you were constantly injecting drugs into your own arm and shooting bees out of your hand. There was a lot of abilities that were just for fun. And now brought into this more serious world where people are actually living in it, and you may actually run across a child once in a while, it seems a bit more violent.
Right. Yeah, I'll give you that. So, anyways, final clip of the day. Let's play this.
Is this it? Is this your movement, Daisy?
This is what needs to be done. You see, the founders ain't nothing but weeds. Cut them down and they just grow back. If you want to get rid of the weed, you gotta pull it up from the root. It's the only way to
Elizabeth.
I guess it runs in the family.
Yeah, damn, Kyle, you weren't kidding. And watching it again, that flow.
It looks fantastic.
Oh man, it looks like straight out of the opening credits of Sweeney Todd.
Oh yeah, good call. Well, she says here that it runs in the family. Is bastard a term only given to men?
Pretty much.
Because earlier in the thing, when we're going through the Fink factory, we find Slate's locker, which has a note or a diary written by Elizabeth's mom, where we find out that the kid was a bastard, and then she just takes it on herself, which seems odd here.
Well, I think bastard's more of a slur against men, just because it had to do with royal lines and stuff. That's where bastard really came into play.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, she would still be a bastard.
Right. A parent or a father or a parentless kid or a kid out of wedlock.
Okay,
referred to back then as a bastard.
Because if I was the bastard, that would make her my half-sister, and her saying it runs in the family means that she has awesome murder powers just like I do. But instead, she's just referring to Comstock and his want to kill Fitzroy in the first place.
And just his lust for power, or just Comstock. It's pretty much assumed at this point that Comstock has killed a lot of people to get where he is.
Yes, yeah. And she has the power to murder people too.
Right. Although it doesn't seem like she's really down with it.
Well, that look that she gives when you first move towards her, and she actually she kind of threatens you with a knife. She's so freaked out, and just they nail that look so much. You really feel empathy for her. Like, this is crushing what little bit of her naivete was left after everything that's been happening since she got out of that tower.
I find it odd to use this as a reference, but I feel this is one of the first times I've had a Pixar moment with a video game where I'm watching something that is not real and I'm having a real emotional reaction to a character's plight.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Pixar would never do something like this. But she
also goes full long kiss goodnight on us, and goes and puts on the sexiest outfit she can find in the back.
Yeah. I guess this is leaking slightly into what we would start next week, but I think that's a good ending point. Right, we get back on the airship. She locks herself in the back room. We set coordinates, start flying, and then she comes out and. Well, also the outfit is meant to echo the outfit we see Lady Comstock in.
Well, she said it was her mother's.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Because that was Comstock's airship that we stole.
Yeah.
It was his Pitmobile.
Right. And once again, it just kind of symbolizes the end of her crazy 3-hour childhood. And now she is totally, she is an adult. She is now fairly jaded. Between all the stuff she's gone through, she's still got a fairly high ideals for everything, but she's she's starting to really understand how things work now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yeah, it's the end of her innocence. It's gone. I wouldn't say it was 3 hours. 3 hours of us knowing it, but obviously she's had her whole sheltered life of just reading books and painting and dreaming about Paris.
Well, she was still kind of in the womb there, you could say.
True.
Yeah, she's only recently realized the scope of her powers outside of like letting a bee out the imaginary window.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, if a bee had been there, I would have like reached into another world and grabbed a gun or something to shoot it.
Die, bee!
It's those Booker instincts kicking in.
Exactly, it runs in the family.
So it's just, it's crazy, man. Oh, she also like cut all her damn hair off too. She's got like super short hair now.
Yeah, I guess she kept those big scissors, huh?
I think we're meant to assume that she used the same scissors that she killed Daisy with.
That's hardcore.
To cut her hair. I mean, she's pretty much putting her armor on, so there's so much symbolism you could draw from that.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, she's getting ready for war, essentially. She's gonna go face her demon, so she's putting on her mother's dress. She's cutting her hair with what she just used to kill somebody with.
Yeah, she's putting on her war bustier.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There was a time where I would have found the second version of Elizabeth very attractive, and I am way more attracted to the first version of Elizabeth in this part of my life. I don't know what that says about me as a person.
Okay.
I don't know.
You're fully out of your goth phase then, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. She's just like...
You're more into your Disney princess phase.
Not a fan of boobs either.
Oh, come on! I of course am a fan of boobs. I think it's the hair for me. I think I liked her long hair. I don't know. It's weird.
You liked her dressed like Gaston instead.
Gaston?
Yeah,
Gaston's
from Beauty and the Beach. Yeah, well, no, she's got like the bucket, she's got the buckle belt and the dress, and she's got the same hairstyle too.
Which movie did you watch?
What? Okay, never.
No one cross-dresses like Gaston.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I don't know what you're talking about there, Kyle.
Check the boots, check the hairstyle.
Are you talking about Belle?
You're talking about Belle?
Gaston.
Gaston's a dude.
Gaston's the big burly dude.
With big old boots.
She looks like Belle.
Buckle.
The woman in the dress.
Yeah, I can let you guys just enjoy the show if you'd like.
I don't know.
I'll come back later when we play, I don't know, maybe like...
I don't know what the hell you're talking
Little
about.
Pony Adventure, and maybe my points will be better received and less racist there.
I'm so confused. I don't know. I think we've lost track here. So anyway, that's where we're stopping. Obviously, next week we will be finishing the game. We're going to be going up through the end of BioShock Infinite. And, oh, man, I can't. I have such a rant to go on. I didn't hit my mini rant real quick. Where death in the multiple universes how they handle it falls apart for me is Booker. Booker is in a universe where he now knows he has died, and he just gets a nosebleed and forges forward.
It's because he's Brock Sampson.
He's got stuff to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does struggle a bit there, and because we have something to do, I think we don't go full-blown nuts. Even Elizabeth is like, keep moving, man. Don't even think about that.
Again, though, but then they're just like hand-waving away a plot point they 5 minutes ago introduced to the game. And that's where I just start like, you put so much effort into this game! It's gonna be a lot of this next week.
I'll just give away the ending. It's all a dream!
Wake up in our bed. Pinkerton bed.
That's right. This is all a dream that happened after the first nosebleed, and the entire game you actually spent there just holding your head, going, think of memories.
Barbershop Quartet's just in, man, that guy's tripping on some serious vigor. So, anyways, we got a very brief email from Christian this week. He sent in an MP3 for The Girls Just Want to Have Fun. He called it an Easter egg. I would almost argue that all of these covers are not Easter eggs, and brought up a larger point that I'm surprised we didn't talk about last week. All of the crazy, awesome, old-timey cover songs that we find throughout Columbia.
Absolutely love every single one of them. Actually, I I put that on loop today. The girls just want to have fun, and I probably listened to that for about 3 hours.
Yeah, and
while I was working.
And that particular one is not. There's no lyrics. It's just like a carousel, all orchestral version, but it's a carousel version.
Yeah, absolutely love it. As far as them in the game, it kind of started to wear off on me a little bit. Like the first time you see the Barbershop Quartet, I was totally digging it, and I was sitting there watching them. And then you start to notice that their animations don't quite sync up with what they're saying, and you go on to the next one, and it's a little and then the next one, and after a while, they just kind of feel like Chuck E. Cheese set pieces as far as the people singing in the game, which happens fairly often.
The one I really enjoyed, though, was the one that happened during the Vox Populi Revolt, when you see the woman singing Fortunate Son. I really liked that a lot.
I liked it, but then I also immediately felt like Pirates of the Caribbean was happening in front of me.
Okay, I'll give you that. I don't necessarily think you're supposed to just stop and stare at her. I did the same thing. But
yeah.
You say you are moving through the scene as they probably hoped you would. That would have been incredibly effective.
True. Kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean. But where you can't stop. So it's more effective than if you were stuck on that ride and had to watch the stupid guys for 40 minutes. It'd drive you nuts. Yeah, I think that probably the one that worked the least for me was actually the one that happened just before that with the poor people singing there, and that girl's lips were not moving anywhere near what the song was doing. She was just
yeah, well, you're splitting hairs at this point.
I am. But
it's an issue with video games in general. The medium has a problem with this, that you can just stop, and like Kyle said, well, I just kind of watched her cry for 20 minutes before I realized I could walk up there and hit a button. It's a problem with the medium. We are in control, so they can't curate as much.
They can't, but they could have. It's a matter of priorities, really. If they really wanted to spend the extra $1 million to lip sync everybody singing, they could have done it, but it was better spent other places, and I'm just nitpicking, like you said.
Right, because the scenes where we're not on rails, but where they guide the camera to watch stuff like the death of Daisy, they do such a freaking bang-up job on the lip sync and the emotions and the animation that you can tell that a lot of time and energy went into this game, but games still have limits, and that they put their effort where it was most needed.
Yeah, I mean, if it came down to when they're actually monetizing everything, and they're like, all right, we have the money to either lip sync this poor child singing, or blackmail this intern to paint a giant painting of Devil Lincoln. Let's go with the Devil Lincoln.
Thank you for Devil Lincoln. Thank you so much.
Yeah, they went with the Devil Lincoln, and it's probably better for it.
I think the Devil Lincoln painting set the mood for this game more than anything else for me personally. I just walked in and was just like, you're freaking kidding me. That's some fucked up shit.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So, yeah. There's that. Kyle, I know you're not the biggest music fan, but did you have anything to add on the covers?
I didn't even know that was happening, so I didn't recognize the movie or the songs they were covered of. I of course ran into Red, White, and Blue in the middle of that weird warehouse, and they're like, I don't think anyone's heard that song before. Yada da 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 da.
I'm trying to even remember where this one scene was. Did you guys? I'm pretty sure it was optional. You're exploring. I don't even remember what portion of the game this was. You're exploring some bar, and you go down to the basement, and there's a guitar.
Oh yeah, and you play for the child, and you course him out with an apple.
Yeah.
Yeah, you play for the child, and Elizabeth kind of like sings and like casually dances to it, and I would almost wish there was more of that. Like I was like, this is so unique.
Yeah, it was so optional too, which surprised me. I completely bypassed that on the second go through because I was just like, gonna get to the impound. It's a really good scene.
Yeah, I probably felt more for Elizabeth in that scene than most stuff because it felt like something that I went out of my way to do.
Yeah.
It seemed really odd because just 2 seconds earlier because I love sprinting in these sort of games. They're high action. So I sprint through every single door. I just killed a guy seconds ago, saw the kid run for it, find a guitar, allows me to click it, and I sit down and start playing.
It was odd that
reason.
Mr. Murder McGee decides to sit down and play this little guitar solo. If someone else had been playing and she just started singing and you're just kind of watching it like, that's some stuff. Like, it would have been a bit more natural. But yeah, I agree. It's weird that the killer guy decides to play guitar too.
Gotcha.
He's just good with his hands.
Well, yeah, there I go, projecting more of myself onto this damn game, playing with a sniper rifle, and I can play guitar? Sweet! The only thing that would have made me happier is if some kind of moving track started coming down the screen at me and I had to hit buttons to a tempo. God. Yes, rock band!
So you could have totally screwed it up and the little kid would have started booing you.
Yes.
He would have grabbed the fruit from Elizabeth and thrown it at
Or
you.
in Columbia land, they would have hung the child. That would have been the outcome of failing this mini game. If this was a harmonics game, yeah, I just boo you, but it's BioShock, so we're gonna hang the kid.
That's horrible.
We're gonna put blackface on the kid and hang him. Done. This, yeah. Kyle, I'm with you on some aspect of missing the music stuff because I am not a Beach Boys fan. So the first cover, which is the Barbershop Quartet singing "God Only Knows," was completely lost on me.
It took me a little bit to get it. It was one of those things where, like, I knew that. I know that song, don't I? I know that song.
Yeah, I didn't get that. Girls just want to have fun with, and since it was carousel music, it took me a while. And I was like, then you hear the hook, and you're just like, oh my god, this feels dirty.
I did not get the shiny happy people happening in the Halls of Hero.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where that happened. I was trying to look up some of the covers, and apparently, the Shiny Happy People by REM shows up somewhere in the Hall of Heroes.
Is that the little tune that plays whenever you hit the machinery with the shock jockey? Like, there's this little ditty that plays real quick. That might have been like the Shiny Happy People holding hands thing or something. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I like I said, it's definitely one I missed, and then obviously Fortunate Son was very obvious, as someone who played Rock Band way too many times with you, Mike, and just a fan of classic rock in general. So, cool stuff. There's even more. There's an awesome GameSpot article with a bunch of the covers. You guys should go check it out.
Yeah, and they explain it really well in the game, too. The same way that Fink had been going through and stealing all of this technology from other dimensions, his brother had been stealing the music.
You find out that Fink's brother was a musician, and he's been using these tears to be like, oh, that's a catchy song from 1987. I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah.
Hey, Fink, your cousin.
Oh, you didn't go far enough with that, but that would have been a wonderful reference.
Talk about a progressive guy, though. Like, hearing music from 100 years in the future and thinking it sounds good. Like, when does that happen?
Well, that's where I think the usage of these covers become really cool, because a lot of these songs are social commentary at the time, but they're done with tongue-in-cheek or with sarcasm, like Shiny Happy People. But I could totally see the denizens of Columbia taking it at face value and being like, yeah, we are Shiny Happy People holding hands.
Exactly.
We should totally play this song all the time, guys. It's awesome, and as a music fan, it just I love it. It's great.
Well, I mean, even they outright play Tears for Fears. Everyone wants to rule the world, but even that's kind of apropos for what's happening.
Yeah, that's the only one where I'm like, okay, I can see them people taking umbrage with that, but all the other songs, if you take them literally and sung by a quartet, fits in this world perfectly.
Yeah.
So, cool stuff. That'll wrap up part 2 of BioShock Infinite. We'll see you next week for our third and final part. If you want to help out the Campaign Roundtable, if you're enjoying our new show, please leave us a review on iTunes. It's the best way to help new shows. The Campaign Roundtable is a production of amove.tv. amove.tv/Campaign Roundtable is our website. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, and our VODs are available on youtube.com/StarcastShow. We record live every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern over at amove.tv/live. Our email is campaignroundtable@gmail.com. If you love the multiverse lore aspect, if you think the way they deal with death is perfect and you think I am an idiot, please write it. I want to hear what everyone else thinks about some of these lore aspects. Especially, there were people in the chat room earlier who are like, the vigors are explained at the end, and I am calling them out. It is stupid. It is dumb. Please write in and tell me.
Save it.
No, well, I'm trying to lead them. I think the reason that it's explained for why their stuff is dumb. So please tell me I'm wrong. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And again, send it to campaignroundtable@gmail.com. Any questions, comments, MP3s, video attachments, any way you want to join in the conversation, just if it's an MP3 or a video attachment, please keep them short. 90 seconds or shorter is preferable. You can follow us on Twitter @CRT Show. I am @GarrettArt. Kyle's @KyleFerguson, and Mike is @MSDArtist. You can go to nomoonart.com for stream design that I do. I do all the overlays for this show, and streaming games or doing Twitch streams. Need some nice overlays? Check out nomoonart.com. Our sponsors are doghousesystems.com. Our code CRT will get you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. And that is what I use to play everything, like BioShock Infinite, for example. Only, Kyle, I'm telling you, man, on your second playthrough, play with a controller, because you'll be less inclined to run at max speed everywhere, because you've got a little bit of a throttle with the joystick.
That's true. You can't tiptoe with the keyboard ever.
No, well, I mean, Half-Life always had the walk toggle, which I use a lot. But, yeah, it's rough. Go check out Doghouse Systems. We thank them for their support, and we will see you guys next week for part 3 of BioShock Infinite. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.